All right, ladies and gentlemen, friendly reminder, tomorrow you do have a vocab quiz. It is on 11 through 20. I am going to finish McAuliffe versus Maryland tomorrow. I'm going to finish it in your notes today, just so we can move on wholly. Wednesday, we're doing 21 through 30, and on Thursday, you have a test, 25 questions, all multiple choice. Focus, 2 Supreme Court cases, and 2 primaries. I'm really going to nail one tomorrow and the next day. Yes, ma'am?
What about if we have like the testing Thursday?
If you have testing on Thursday because of something else, we can make up your test in the morning, Thursday morning, Friday morning, Monday morning, totally don't care, or during your lunch. Your standardized tests are way more important than my weekly test, but you still are responsible for getting my weekly test done. Yes, sir?
And the test will always be definition, application,
Yep.
topics.
Exactly the language you saw is pretty much exactly what it's going to be throughout. So the best way to prepare for it is to ask me questions and actually talk to me. Yeah, the impossible task. Yeah, that would be terrible. Yeah, no, I love talking to myself. It's my favorite thing. Here we go. So on Friday, we started talking about McAuliffe versus Maryland. And I do want to finish that up in your notes, even though I'm going to finish filling it out for you another day. Okay, on your notes, we got talking about how the U.S. government created a bank. Yes? Okay, so McAuliffe versus Maryland is the U.S. creation of a bank and whether states can tax it. Yes? Those are the big aspects of it. Underneath it, put a star. These are the outcomes. Okay, you need to know that it is going to demonstrate supremacy clause. It's going to demonstrate supremacy clause, implied powers, and enumerated powers. Okay, so those 3 things are the major outcomes. Okay, and underneath that, the government can create an entity under the Constitution. The government can create an entity under the Constitution even if it's not specifically stated, to do its job more efficiently. Okay, so McAuliffe versus Maryland is all about how the government can create an entity, even if it's not mentioned directly by the Constitution, in order to do its job more efficiently. Okay, so spoiler alert, the U.S. government wins that one. We haven't. This will be the first one the U.S. government has, so that's nice, right? They should win at some point. Here we go. Skip a space, center it. We are doing federalism. Okay, so those are the 2 major Supreme Court cases. We're going to come back to McAuliffe versus Maryland and finish our finish our little thing for it. But today we're doing federalism. Center it. We have a bunch of definitions. Now, listen to me. Listen to me. I'm going to tell you to write down a definition. Do not write down all the definitions. Yes? We learned that you just can't write down what I have and think that's going to be on the test because it's not. Yes? Because it's the actual listening part, and I'm telling you what to write down, and we're going to have a conversation about it. If you think with me, you'll be fine for the test. If you just write down and just stare off into space, you're not going to be fine on the test. Yes? Okay. Federalism. Here we go. Is the separation between powers of federal, state, and local government. Oh my God, have we progressed beyond the 3 branches of government finally? Yes, well, kind of, yeah. Okay, we're not just mesmerizing judicial, legislative, and executive the whole time. Okay, so put a star underneath it. This is how all 3 interact. Local, state, federal. Federalism is about how all 3 of these interact. Fun fact, which one has more of a direct impact on your life? Which one? Adam. Local government. And who is our local government leader, Pierce? Huh? like be aware of our lives here. Jane Castor is our local government leader. Who is our state government leader? Come on, now he's super famous. He's about to declare if he wins in November. Who is it, Meriwether?
Ron DeSantis.
Ron DeSantis is our governor. Okay? He is nationally known at this point. He's probably going to run for president if he wins re-election, which I think we can all agree is a pretty damn good shot of winning re-election here in the state of Florida. He's very popular. Whether you like him or not, he's very popular. And who is in charge of our federal government? The president, Joe Biden. Hello. Okay. Because these are the easy ones you can talk to me on, okay? Hello. So, Jane Castor, DeSantis, Biden. Those are the three major aspects of our little lives. That is looking at the federalism. Jane Castor controls some aspect of your life, right? Like, for instance, if your street floods every single time it rains, whose fault is it? Biden's? No, it's Jane Castor's fault. Is it really Jane Castor's fault? We'll deal with that at another date, but Jane Castor's fault. If China bombs us, whose fault is it?
Biden's.
Yes, it's not Jane Castor's fault. People, that would be wild. Okay? So, when we're talking about federalism, we're looking at the three spheres of government around us. Okay? State, local, federal. When we're talking about this, okay, there are multiple ways we have to view it, multiple perspectives. The first one is a confederacy, Jillian. Just staring off into space here. Confederacy. Now, what I would do, please listen, I would indent and write confederacy in your notes. Because confederacy is a type of federalism. It's talking about how they interact with each other, okay? So, confederacy is a system of government in which the central government is very weak. Most of the true power lies in individual states. So I'll let you write that definition. We're going to add a bunch of things underneath it. There are three examples of a confederacy. I want you to be thinking of them because I'm just going to call on people to give me one of the three. Unless I have a rousing hand raising in just a moment after you finish writing the definition down. Are you all done? Yes. States. Yeah, individual states. Alright, here we go. You need to know that there are three examples of confederacy you have to know. Who can give me one? I've talked about it 1,000 times and it's so annoying to keep talking about it. I've already talked to Adam, so I'll call on Kate. Give me an example of a confederacy. What's the one I talk about 1,000 times and you're talking? Oh no. No, that's a type of government. We're talking about a confederacy. Give me an example of a confederacy. What do we got? Andreas?
American Confederate States of America.
Yes, the Southern Confederacy. Not where I was going, but yes, it is one. One of the three. Southern Confederacy. Who can tell me what the Southern Confederacy is? Owen. Not Owen. I'm so Mr. McCormick, what do you got for me? What's the Southern Confederacy? Sorry, my head shake was for this chaos that we are currently in, not for you. I know that would, I was not trying to be rude to you. I hate Yeah. Yeah. What time period is it? Yeah, right before the Civil War. The succession of 11 states. There you go. So the first example of Confederacy you have to know is the Southern Confederacy. Okay, 11 states secede from the Union. If you gotta go, go. I'm teaching. Okay, so that's the first example. What's the second example? Adam. Yeah, Articles of Confederation. How many times have we talked about that? Okay, the Articles of Confederation. What is the big claim to fame for the Articles of Confederation, Wesley?
All the states have powers.
Yeah, okay? It's the first document attempt to create a government, yes? In the U.S.? Fails? Why does it fail, Pierce? There's no central government tying these people together. That's a big problem. And what is the third example of a confederacy here in the United States? one of your vocab words. It happens to be the second word on the board. Meriwether,
Orocus Confederacy.
Iroquois.
I was close.
You were close. There's no judgment. It's the Iroquois. Iroquois Confederacy. Write it down. You absolutely need to know it. Okay? The Iroquois, you need to know that is the first treaty the U.S. government signs and is the inspiration for all the following confederacies. So is Confederacy a European ideal or a Native American ideal? It's a Native American ideal. That is a Native American thing that we have pulled, and that is why we have it. You don't see confederacies in Europe because it's not a European thing, it's a Native American thing, and that's a big deal. That's a huge part of how we structure our government originally, remember? We tried it, didn't work. How does it work out for the Iroquois? Did they win? No, they get eventually, of course, being done, just like all the other natives, and eventually sent out west. So, okay. Here we go. You need to know the strength or the positive. I would just write a plus sign under Confederacy. What is the positive sign of a Confederacy? We talked about this loosely with the Articles of Confederation. Why is it a good thing? Ty, what's a positive about having a Confederacy?
All the states are
Do they have, are they represented equally?
yeah.
Yes, okay? So, there are more viewpoints available. That is the good thing about a confederacy. More viewpoints are held and seen. That's a big deal. What's the negative about it? Come on, we talked about the AOC 1,000 times. Parker, what's the biggest problem with a confederacy? Which is why we have a constitution. What's the biggest difference between the Articles of Confederation and a constitution?
Separation.
Oh, no. What do you got, Matthew? There's no central government. No quick decisions can be made. Okay? The reason why the Iroquois nation really get trampled by the U.S. cavalry, which is really how most of them go out, is because in order to make decisions for the Iroquois nation, all of the Iroquois leaders had to meet up and make a decision as a unanimous group, and that slows down decision making. Can we agree? Keep in mind, the Iroquois were actually were one of the most powerful of the natives, and they were able to push off American dominance for quite some time. So they were like incredibly fierce. But of course, we crushed them and broke them, destroyed their culture. So that's another topic for another day. Here we go. Okay, then you have unitary systems is your next one. So under federalism, there's multiple terms. Unitary system is a system of government in which the central government is extremely powerful and individual states have few powers. Iroquois. Oh, Confederacy. You have the Southern Confederacy, the Articles of Confederation, and then you have the Iroquois Confederacy. Those are the three you need to know. Okay, so the unitary system is a system of government in which the central government is extremely powerful and individual states have few powers. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, does this sound like a good thing or a bad thing?
Good.
It's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. Few states have powers. The central government is extremely powerful. This is anti-what document? Anti-Constitution. The Articles of Confederation, yes, it's more articles than it is Constitution. Put a big star in your notes. This is the fear of every anti-federalist. This is the fear that the central government becomes so powerful that no one else has any say. That is the fear, okay? That is the antithesis. We don't have this here in 2022. We haven't had it in any time period. To avoid this, write that nice and big in the center of your notes. To avoid this, we implemented, to avoid the central government becoming too powerful, we implemented dual federalism. To to avoid. Okay? So that is the big fear of the Constitutional Convention, that the central government becomes too big. They've immediately start implementing a whole new idea called dual federalism is the first one. Okay? Dual federalism is the first. It is, and you need to call it layer cake because they refer to it. College Board loves this analogy, so we'll let them play with it. Okay, we will join them in this dumb game of theirs. Okay. Okay, look at this perspective here. Oh my God, are you proud? No, you can't say anything. Thanks, God. Okay, that kind of sucked. But there we are. I'm not a baker, nor am I an artist. But we will try. Here we go. Okay, when we talk about dual federalism, we're talking about a layer cake. When we talk about a layer cake, this layer is going to be chocolate, and the other ones are vanilla. Yes, we're going to pull through their analogy. Okay? Vanilla, and this is going to be chocolate. Okay? You don't have to write this down, but it does help. When we're talking about a layer cake, each one is individual and does not touch. You may want to write that down. Each is individual and does not interfere with the other flavor. Put the flavor in quotes. Personally, this is my favorite type of cake. I love a good layer cake. I do. Because I like to have flavors separated. Are you a marble man, Aiden? Do you like having them all mixed in? No, it's chaos in that. It's chaos. Sometimes you have more chocolate than vanilla. I just cannot handle it. Okay? So, do not write anything down, but let me show you what the other one looks like. Okay? Oh, this is already starting off bad. Oh, yeah. Okay? So, here's our cake. I'll give a frosting line. We all know it's the best part. Inside, you have swirls of chocolate inside. Oh, that looks terrible. Okay? Swirls of chocolate in what? And vanilla. That's what we're talking about. A marble. You're going to go home and be like, Miss Bennett was talking about baking today. Okay, let me try adding some clarity to this. Okay. When we talk about the layer cake, what we are really talking about is federalism. Local, state, federal. In a layer cake, this local has complete autonomy over local government. Write that down. In every layer of federalism, state, local, federal, each aspect has its own autonomy. This is for layer cake. We haven't gone into marble cake besides the fact I drew the picture. Because I wanted to draw the picture. And it came out terrible. Thank you for asking.
Each aspect
Has its own autonomy. Okay? So, local governments only answer local concerns. State governments only answer. Federal government only answers. Okay. Yes. Do we see how this works? Okay. Put a big star. So when we talk about layers, state is dealing with state issues. Local is only dealing with local. Federal is only dealing with federal. Put a big star. It's a failure. It's a failure. Why? Hello, think about it. Local, state, federal. Why is it a failure, Nick? Yes, they interact. Yes, they interact. Hello. Okay, so raise your hand if you drive on a road that floods when you come to school. When it pours or when you go home. Okay. Technically, whose fault is that? We've already talked about the chain of command for us. Whose fault? Jane Castor. Okay? Now, Jane Castor hasn't fixed that road clearly yet. Why? She has no money. She doesn't have the money to do it. Why not? We'll give her a break. Why? Where does she get her money? State. Yes, state gives her the money. So who's actually holding the money? DeSantis is holding it. Now, when we talk about DeSantis doesn't actually have the money because who actually has it?
Biden.
his pocket right now. Yes, guys, when we're talking about our federalism, everything is really closely tied because of the money. This fails because nothing is autonomous. Doesn't that make sense? Okay? Our local governments are funded by the state. Our state governments are funded by the so nothing is really independent. That's why this fails. Layer cake is a failure. So, make sure you know, it's a failure because the connectivity is very monetary based. Okay, the connectivity is money based. Okay? Don't you think Jane Castor would like to fix the roads? It would make her more popular, right? These are basic problems, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican in Tampa, wouldn't you like the roads not to flood every time?
Yeah.
Why doesn't she just go around fixing all the roads?
So she's
No money.
broke.
She has no money. It's too expensive to fix roads. Okay? Okay. So, dual feudalism does not work because there's no way these things are independent. So then we come up with the idea of cooperative federalism. That's your next term. Now, dual federalism is what we started with, and then we're like, well, shit, these things aren't really autonomous to each other. They're all connected. So then we start dealing with cooperative federalism, which is known as marble cake. Aren't you glad we're back to the baking analogies? How exciting. With marble cake, which is apparently how Aiden likes his desserts, which I'm judging. I'm just kidding, Aiden. You have bigger problems than what type of desserts you like. I'm a pie person personally. I love a good pie. Apple pie is my personal fave. It's classic. Moving forward. Might be more information than you need, Lucy, okay? So, when we talk about marble cake or cooperative federalism, it is sharing powers between federal and state governments. Okay, who does this leave out? Local. You need to make a note of that. Local is left out of cooperative. Why? Why do you think local is left out? Ethan, why? You don't think Joe Biden cares about our street flooding? No, I think he's got bigger problems right now. Oh man. Why do you think local is left out? Yeah, okay. The management of it all would be too much. Keep that in mind. The management of it is too much. Our local government is mostly funded by what though? Taxes. State taxes or local taxes? Local taxes. You need to acknowledge that. A lot of our local government is going to be funded by local taxes. That's all you need to know about it. A lot of our income taxes, like for all your parents. If you are actually supposed to be at Plant High School because of where you live, and I say that laughing because a lot of people come to the school who actually aren't concerned here, that's a whole other issue for another day. If your parents pay for the school with their taxes. You know that, yes? That is why we just got new fancy football field out there. That's why we have a bunch of new stuff. And have you noticed that some schools are really rich and affluent and some are very poor? Because it's all based on real estate taxes. The land, well, where's the most expensive land in Tampa?
The one.
Right here in South Tampa. So that's why we have more access to more money because your parents' taxes on their house are higher. Yes. Now, is that fair for other people? No, because that keeps wealth in certain places, yes? That's a whole other issue for another day. Local is kept out because a lot of local is paid by local taxes. State and federal have to work together because the money is moving between state governments and the federal government. Okay, so when we talk about dual cooperative federalism, this is still used today. Write it down. This is what we deal with today. Okay, dual federalism, we kind of leave it behind. It was very influential for a long time, but we've left it behind. Our modern day belief system that our state government and our federal government need to work together, yes? Okay, and that is how we control the flow of money. Most of this is all about the flow of money. We agree most of our lives are controlled by that? For sure. Okay. So, today in the United States, in order to avoid a unitary system, we have two different ways to deal with it. Dual federalism and cooperative federalism. Today we use cooperative. It is going to exclude local because local is paid by local taxes. Any questions on that? I know this is not that exciting. I'm sorry. I think we're killing like a ton of people tomorrow. And that's fun. You signed up for APGov though. So we talk about government stuff. So I'm so sorry. Questions about federalism? Questions about dual federalism and cooperative? For the rest of the week, I'm going to explicitly kind of go through these two components, so it's a big deal. Okay, skip a space. Fiscal. How much time do I have?
It's supposed to rain now.
No, I know. But we're going to keep going because they're here, right? Fiscal federalism is a new take on this whole process. Okay, the government's patterns of spending, taxing, and providing grants influence state and local governments. Okay, so today our federalism is cooperative federalism. Cooperative federalism is based on fiscal federalism. Okay, so cooperative federalism implements fiscal federalism. And we're going to talk about how that works. Okay. Sorry, I'm letting you write this stuff down. Okay. Here in 2022, we justify our money from the federal government. Write this down. Put a star. States justify money from the federal government. States justify money from the federal government by asking for specific projects via grants. Okay, for instance, have you guys seen the flamingo at our airport? It's pretty cool. I think it looks pretty cool. Some people think it's really lame. Have we talked about this in this class?
No.
Okay. That flamingo, do you know what cost the city of Tampa? Like $2 million? Yeah, that flamingo cost $2 million. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty Instagram worthy. It's gonna make people think it's pretty cool. Do we as taxpayers pay for that? No, we didn't actually. It's a grant. It's a grant paid by the U.S. government, the federal government.
Why would they pay for that?
Huh?
Why would they pay for that?
Because there's lots of weird things the government wants to do because they want people to go to the airport. They want people to travel. Because if you're traveling, you're paying more in taxes. So by you. You don't think it's neat? Don't worry, your Instagram.
Why are you like dying talking about this so much? I read
Bob is Bennett, see you tomorrow morning.
You're really leaving?
No.
You black. Okay. Oh, well, I'm sorry. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank
We're
you.
glad you're here. Well, I'm sorry you had to say goodbye to your friends. I moved my senior year, going into senior year from Boston to Florida.
Oh, mine's a little bit different. I still see them.
But it's still hard.
Yeah, it was a little bit weird saying bye to them because I lived there for like 12 years.
Of course, of course.
Alright.
Well, I'm so sorry.
No,
But
it's
we're
okay.
happy to have you here. I hope you know that.
Thanks.
All right. Have a good day, Darren.